Warning, this fic contains suggestive themes that some viewers may not be suitable for. If you are not comfortable with sex mixed with ponies, please turn away now. Or just bitch about it in the comments. You have been warned. Vinyl and Octavia sit side by side, bent over the bedside in lacy undergarments, calling out to you, asking, "Which of us is better?" With all the cake Octavia has been eating, she has a soft, curvy shape, while Vinyl has a pale smoothness that shines under the moonlight, peeking through the curtains. Decisions. Grabbing a handful of both of them, each cry out, Vinyl with a low moan and Octavia with a squeak. As expected, Octavia is soft in your grasp, like dough pleading to be kneaded, while your other hand is a smooth, plush, white skin of Vinyl as she pushes herself back against your touch. They both turn their heads over their shoulders, cheeks touching, both kinds of cheeks, and give you a half-lidded stare while you massage their backsides. In unison, they ask, "What are you waiting for?" Their undergarments make a beautiful contrast to their skin tones, matching midnight black lace panties and bras, caressing both of them, hugging their flesh at just the right size so it isn't hanging loose, but isn't straggling them. The pattern on the cloth is wavy and elegant, as well as opaque, while the rest of the underwear is translucent. The bed is large with a heavenly mattress, soft and meshy, while not squishy and uncomfortable. The bedside lamps are dim, but it's enough light to reflect the pairs of rubies and amethyst eyes that are pleading you to accompany them among the pillows. The weather outside is cold from winter, and it's a relief to slip under the covers with the two women on either side of you. They're hugging you on each arm, nuzzling your shoulder blades, and radiating warmth on your bare skin. The moon casts its glow inside the room, revealing the soft and peaceful faces that are Octavia and Vinyl. Both shivering from the cold, you wrap your arms around the both of them, enveloping them with your soft touch while their heads rest on your chest. Vinyl's hair tickles your chin, while Octavia's hair gives you a sweet apple scent, likely from her shampoo. Pulling them closer, they do the same with you, wanting as much body contact as possible. And it's warm, so very warm, lying beneath the blanket with the two women breathing softly on your body. The moon retreats behind some nighttime clouds, leaving only the dim lamps on the room to provide light. The serene atmosphere changes from the moon's pale light to a warm orange glow from the nightstands on either side. Their clothing is soft and silky as it brushes against your torso. The texture can only be described as smooth while it tickles your sides. Their heads point up and they both begin to nuzzle your neck. You stretch your head up to give them more room while they begin huffing and lightly pecking the skin of your throat. Their lips are like heated pillows pressing against you, only to leave seconds later and moving to a different spot while you squirm and silently beg for more. Vinyl gets adventurous and nips your jawbone, making you gasp. Octavia lets out a malicious giggle at your reaction, while Vinyl turns to her and smiles, as if they have an evil plan for you. Vinyl continues playing with your neck, leaving wetter kisses and love bites while Octavia sits up to face you. Her nose is only centimeters away from yours as she stares dreamily into your eyes. Ever so slowly, she leans forward and connects the gap between your lips, while Vinyl hits a sensitive spot, making you cry out. Octavia takes advantage of the opening and invites herself into your mouth, greeting your own wet appendage. Tavi is moaning into your mouth at this point, playing around with your tongue. You would fight back, but Vinyl refuses to let you think, and her gentle kisses and nibbles make you putty in their hands. Not wanting to leave them out of the fun, your hands reach out and grasp Octavia's breast, their large, easily slipping out of your hand as you rub them through the fabric that binds them. Octi squeaks at the sudden touch, giving you the opportunity to bring the tongue wrestling into her mouth instead. Octi hums at the movements you're making, exploring every nook and cranny of her mouth, and she doesn't mind at all. Suddenly, Vinyl moans against the side of your head, bringing a sensation to the skin. The combination of her gentle bite, soft kiss, and the vibrations from her mouth send a shiver down your spine. You squeeze Octavia's mounds in surprise, earning a cry from her. You can't help but retract from Octavia's mouth to throw your head back and hiss as Vinyl repeats the action on the other side of your neck. Octavia grabs your head and slowly presses her forehead against yours, humming in satisfaction. Both of you close your eyes while she massages your shoulders. The sudden realization that Vinyl has abandoned her position on your neck strikes you. You peek open your eyes to see that she has switched places with Octavia, with her crimson gaze lost in your eyes. Octavia pulls back and reaches behind her back to undo the clasp that kept her bra in place, letting it fall off. Vinyl throws a leg over you to straddle your midsection and leans forward to pick up where Octi left off, pressing her tongue inside your mouth and grazing against the smoothness of your teeth. You almost get lost in the kiss before you wonder what Octavia has gone to. As if to answer your thought, you feel a pair of delicate fingers slip into the waistband of your boxers, slowly pulling them down to set your member free. Vinyl wraps her arms around your head and pulls you as close to her as possible, pressing into the passionate kiss. Meanwhile, you can feel a hot breath brushing your member, making it pulse. Your hands reach around Vinyl, hugging her, with one hand on her shoulder and the other on her waist. She begins to angle her head to access more of your mouth as you wrestle with her tongue. All the while, the heated breath teasing your member is replaced with a short, wet licks from the base to the tip and down again. And somehow escapes through you and Vinyl's locked lips as Octavia moves her head down to lick your testicles. They are smooth, caressing your package in a warm heat that relaxes you. Vinyl decides to recede into her own mouth, enticing you to join her. The kiss continues as you take the wrestling into her domain, lowering your hand to knead her ass. The kiss breaks as Vinyl pulls back to stare into your eyes seductively, asking for more. Not wanting to deny, you bring your other hand down to gently massage her other cheek, earning playful giggles and moans from Vinyl. Octavia suddenly reminds you of her presence, deciding to open her mouth and wrap her head around your tip. She begins suckling as you look over Vinyl's shoulder to see her face. As if expecting your glance, she brushes a lock of her dark hair out of her face to return your gaze. She never blinks, tilting her head a little so your head is pressing against the inside of her cheek. Just the sight of a mischievous smile with a third of your member encased in her lips is enough to make you moan in pleasure. She smiles wider at your reaction and begins to lower her head to take in more of your member. Vinyl decides to bring your attention back to her by sucking on a bite she made on the edge of your jaw. She succeeds, making you focus more on the massage you're giving to her rear. You begin moving one of your hands lower, slowly creeping on the surface of her skin to reach your target, her soaking entrance. You're surprised at how wet she is already, giving her a "well, what do we have here?" look into her half-lidded eyes. She gasps and bites her lip as you tease her outer lips with 2 fingers, while your other hand continues kneading her cheeks. Octavia is bobbing her head in short movements, never going past half your member, as she plays with the tip with her tongue. You can feel drool slipping down the rest of your member and grazing your balls with its cool wetness. You decide not to stop teasing Vinyl and slip in a single finger into a snatch. The task is easy, with her entrance already soaking, making squishing noises as you massage her inner walls. One of your free hands moves to her breasts to play with her sensitive nipples and bringing out a throaty moan from her mouth. Her own arms tighten around your shoulders like a scarf as she opens her eyes to yours. Her eyes are beautiful, a majestic scarlet to complement her fluorescent blue hair, but you notice a spark of excitement gleam from her eyes as she smiles devilishly. Octavia is going lower, barely touching your base as you can feel the back of her throat bump against your tip every time she goes down. Her head twists as she goes, giving you all the sensation of her tongue helixing around your member. All the while, she is sucking hard, pleading for more of you. You slip a second finger inside Vinyl and press against her insides. She can't take it anymore and slams her lips onto yours, kissing passionately. You continue to roughly massage her ass and finger her entrance. Her juices are leaking onto your waist, mixing with Octavia's saliva. Her hand squeezes her breast hard, while her other hand is pressing onto the back of your head, denying you the chance to pull back and breathe. Octavia is moving as fast as she can, begging for you to unload in the depths of her mouth. You feel she might get her wish as you feel yourself building up inside. Meanwhile, Vinyl has begun grinding into your fingers, trying to get you as deep as possible. You insert a third appendage and abandon the tactic of merely massaging her insides, and now are trying to thrust as deep into her as fast as possible. She never pulls away, choosing to moan and cry out into your mouth instead of pulling away from you. Her moans come more often and escalates into screams as you finger her ferociously. Octavia continues to suck mercilessly at your member, twirling her tongue along your underside with each bob. You move your hand off Vinyl's ass to touch Octavia's head. You want to warn her that you're about to blow so she can move out of the way in time, but she instead speeds up her movements, bringing a grunt out of your mouth and into Vinyl's. Vinyl seems to be lost in your kiss, while you're fingering and her playing with her breasts. Her eyes roll backwards as she loses control. Her tongue is having a mind of its own as it thrashes against yours. Before too long, her cries turn into a single high-pitched scream as a warm liquid is sprayed against your fingers and stomach. As she calms down and rests her head on your chest, you feel your climax coming around the corner. You pull your waist back so you wouldn't finish on Octavia's mouth, thinking that would be rude to be so selfish. She notices, and instead of pulling off, she pushes forward and takes as much as you as she can. You cry out as her nose bumps your chest, and your whole member is wrapped in a heavenly warmth. Octavia moans as your seed spurts forth, coating her throat in a sticky white. She finally pulls off and excessively gulps, wanting you to know that she took and swallowed all of your semen. You're breathing hard, with Vinyl relaxing on your chest. You get a little time to rest before Vinyl wakes up from her afterglow and sits up. You don't expect what comes next as Octavia yanks your legs, pulling you down so you lie flat on the mattress. Before you can protest, Vinyl is crouched over you, pressing her hand on your forehead, keeping you from getting up as you watch her wet snatch drip just above you. You barely hear her mutter, "Round 2, before she lowers herself onto your face. Your lips are now pressed against her other set of lips as she grinds down, wordlessly asking you to please her again. Her legs curl under your armpits to pin you into the position, giving you only one option. "Lick," she commanded. You oblige, slowly sticking your tongue out and into her awaiting sex. You can only hear her moan and whisper a "good boy." You continue your service as you can feel her cries from above. The feeling of just ravaging her with only your mouth is enough to get you aroused again. Now hard, you blink in surprise as you remember someone else is still in the room. You can't look around, having your vision blocked by Vinyl's luscious ass cheeks pressed against you. Her grinding isn't helping either, giving you the sensation of being smothered by a pillowy cloud. Suddenly you feel something touch your stiff member. In the distance, you hear Octavia moan as a hot vice slides over your penis. The feeling is tight and warm, contrast to the cold air that once occupied it. Soon enough, hips met hips, as Octavia now has your entire member plunged inside of her. She hums, pleased to be filled with your throbbing member. Vinyl is moaning loudly, surely to be heard from a distance, but she didn't care. Your tongue was massaging her insides, grazing her clitoris ever so often to send a shiver down her spine that you could feel. You moan into Vinyl's snatch as a result of Octavia bringing herself up. Chilly air meets your member as it now stands soaked in Octavia's wetness. Before you can fully escape, she slams back down with a wet slap, bringing you back into the hot bliss that was her entrance. She repeats the process at a steady pace, bouncing on your hips with force while the vibrations from your cries of ecstasy echo inside Vinyl, bringing moans of pleasure from her mouth. Octavia is speeding up her movement, thrusting you deep inside with each bounce, threatening to crush your hips. You suck on Vinyl's walls, searching with your tongue for her button. She squeaks cutely as you brush over the bit. Finding your prize, you focus on it, sucking it in between your licks and teasing it with the tip of your tongue. Vinyl screams from your action, threatening to spray her orgasm all over you. Octavia cries out in pleasure, speeding up her bounces until you can't take it anymore. But you can't finish inside her since you aren't wearing protection. You reach out your hand to push her off, regretting the fact that her fun would be cut short. Instead, she obliges and feel her pull herself off your member. You hadn't gotten to your peak though, and groan in the denial of pleasure. Suddenly, Vinyl stands up and moves away as well, leaving you lying on the bed on your own. You sit up in confusion to widen your eyes in surprise. At the foot of the bed, Octavia was breathing hardly, lying down and looking up at you. Vinyl was taking a position on top of her, facing her so both of their chests and snatches were pressing against each other. They both looked back into you with seduction. "Finish us," they whispered together. Realizing the plan, you hop to your knees and scoot yourself to them. They had begun to kiss each other in the heat of passion, both entrances soaking in the other's fluids. "Hurry," they whisper, pushing both their lower sections against you. You dare not to wait another second and press your member into the hot tunnel that was their pussies, pressing together. Both of them moaned in each other's mouth as you thrust, pressing themselves harder against each side of your member. You began thrusting into the warmth, rubbing their clitoris with each push. All three of you were already on the edge from before, and it took not even a few thrusts before all three of you moaned simultaneously. Vinyl and Octavia's fluids were spraying all over your penis, keeping it slippery as it continued to push forward. Your own load had begun spraying out onto their chests. You were coming so hard it hurt. The load was bigger than ever before. The mess of sweat and fluids clouded the room in heat, making you forget it was ever the middle of winter. Now coming down from your high, you pulled back from the two, breathing hard from the best orgasm of your life. You noticed the two begin to lick the semen you poured onto them off each other to clean up. You simply lay back on the pillows, relaxing in the heavenly warmth of the room, before you were joined by the two most. Both of them snuggled into your arms and relaxed, preparing for sleep. You reached behind each of them to pull the chain on the lamp and cut the lights to sleep. Just then, the moon came out from the clouds to encase the three of you in a blissful glow, providing a last look into the faces of the sleeping women before you as well joined them in dreamland. The end.